There you go. So your book, what is the purpose, would you say your book is for you?
Um, they hurt my kids. I want them to pay. No, oh no, no, sorry. Yeah, I have to be nice, don't I? Sorry. No, no. The whole point of the book, right from the very get go, was after 30, close to 30 years, no traction. No matter what we have said and done, no matter how public, how vocal we
Mhm.
have been shut down at every turn. And the only way I could see past the wall of silence through our government institutions and media was to create a better way. So
Yep, definitely.
the first was to write the book, get it going. So it is fully written. It just needs to be edited. It
Right.
needs to be set up and laid out. Um, and it's a bit of a whistleblower in one respect because most of Canada doesn't know about this, but it's really not because the government knows every last one of these problems,
Right.
right? They know that we are being released without our medical pensions in place. They know that puts stress on us. They know that puts stress on our family. They know that that results in mental health check-ins where police come and then they arrest and taser you and throw you in a cell.
Mhm.
And then your wife uses your kids against you as a weapon in court, and then your kids are alienated from you. I mean, we know all these things, but no one else seems to know them. And so the whole purpose of the book was just to get that out and up. And if we can sustain the
Sounds like a good
release,
movie.
yeah,
It sounds like a
yeah,
really good movie, and that's why I motivate self-publishing for sure. Because, like, of course, you could go with this story that's amazing and take it to a publisher and have them take 80% of the profits. But, like, pushing to self-publish is so much better. If you decide to
yeah,
go with a screenplay with it in the future, you can. Like, you have more freedom with it if you do it through a
yeah.
self-publisher.
Well, the book itself, the beginning and end of the book, both, the whole reason for the book is also to help promote Veterans House.
Right.
Because, the last chapter in the book is how all of what took place in my life came together and how we formed Veterans House.
And led to
Um,
this. Yeah.
yeah, and like the whole thing. What if I was to put two words together to edify what we do. The,
Mhm.
the first would be recovery, and the second would be performance.
Right.
And the book is about recovery and performance.
Right.
What we do at Veterans House is about recovery and performance. My personal life is about recovery and performance. I want my skill set back. I want my family. I want my relationships. These things
100%.
are important to me, right? So recovery and performance is the key.
Yeah.
Uh, so if you're not doing recovery, um, you'll never get performance.
That's right. You gotta be
Right?
whole before you can perform whole.
Yeah.
Or if
Uh,
you're 70%, you'll only ever perform 70%. Yeah.
yeah. And for all those people that are out there that might be suffering any kind of mental health issue, I mean, the reality is you will never recover from your mental health issue unless you first work on your physical well-being.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to put the right nutrients into your body. You have to stop polluting it with
Yeah.
processed foods and junk garbage.
That's right.
You have to feed it like you want to perform, like you want to be able to be an airborne commando. You know what I mean? If you really want to be that, you got to feed the body.
That's
You
right.
know, and so to me, like anyone who's got a mental health issue, stop worrying about your mental health. Start focusing on your physical well-being, and the mental well-being will probably take care of itself in most cases. And if it
Yes.
doesn't, it doesn't matter because you got your physical well-being in place. And guess what? There's amazing things you can do when you're feeling well enough to do them, and you can create change. You can change if you got a toxic relationship, you can change that.
Yep.
You can get out of it,
Yep.
but that requires a change. And I guess my one, if I have a pet peeve, it's that people love awareness and they ignore change.
That's right.
And like I don't care how aware you are of something, if you're not willing to change it, shut up.
Somebody always wants you to be more aware, but then they're failing to acknowledge the change that's taken place. That's
Yeah,
that's somebody who you can't please, and probably
yeah,
somebody who's not going to be good for you long term. Yeah, you're right.
well, in a lot of cases, that change happens. Like in my case, I went from a an airborne commando to barely functions as a human being
It's
overnight.
quite the 180.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, one, I couldn't understand what was happening. Two, and
Hmm.
two, my brain didn't function in order to process. So it took 2 decades just to recover from not just the injuries itself, but the medical treatment of the injuries.
Right,
Because I couldn't get treated for encephalopathy of the brainstem. The brainstem, all they would treat me for is PTSD. And
right.
every time they gave me a drug for PTSD, after I looked it up, no, excuse me, after I got out of the hospital, spent 6 months in the hospital, right? And I looked up the drug, and it says right on it, do not use a quinine based drugs such as methylquine. It's like, oh, thanks for poisoning me
Well,
a second.
and this is why I was like, dude, I've got to help you expose this because, and we're Canadian. We're not a proud warrior race like the Americans or even the British. We're very quiet, quiet, proud, quiet, strong. That's the motto.
And
For
and
Christ's
we
sakes.
abuse our military.
Yep.
They're there.
Yeah.
It's almost like Canada believes their military is there to be sacrificed, right? And there's a significant difference between a person who's willing to sacrifice, right, and a person who's being sacrificed for no reason.
That's right. The biggest pancake says in chat, I needed to hear this interview. Thank you. And further instilling, like this book, as a movie or a TV show, it's got to be told. It's a story that is super relatable to a lot of veterans. And if a lot of current service personnel or thinking about becoming service personnel, you can become more effective by taking all of this into consideration. These are hurdles that not everybody faces through their life of service, like there's dudes who walk through a war zone and not a scratch, and they've been in the dirtiest, most dangerous situations in the world and not a scratch. And then lo and behold, the attack comes from not even behind, from within, from a substance that you were told to take for a certain purpose. And you can consciously in the real time say, I'm going to not take this. Thanks, though.
No,
And,
we didn't have a choice. Didn't
exactly.
have a choice. And this is where it gets really, really interesting, okay? Because with the vaccine, they've ruled that it was an unlawful command to order the military to take the vaccine, right?
Yet we
And so
still
it
have to be vaccinated to reenlist.
yes, but
Hmm.
it's still an unlawful command, right? And so here's the interesting thing: how could ordering us to take methylquine been a lawful command?
Because the drug was approved.
No, it wasn't. Not when we took it.
It wasn't? Weird.
No, right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Just a small point. Actually, I got a small story for you,
Hmm.
which is interesting. This will tell you just how much we don't know.
Okay.
When I was being connected to the disability channel, I got a call from a guy, and we started talking. And as we were talking, he said, "Didn't you?" He said that someone told me that you were an airborne paratrooper. I said, "Yeah, that's right." I said I was a medic with two commando.
Hmm.
And he said, "Oh, what years?" And I told him the years. He said, "I was a medic with excuse me, I was a member of three commando, same years." And it's like, really? I said, were you in Somalia? He goes, "Yeah, I was in Somalia." And it was like, holy gee. So we're talking. I talked to this guy that I served with, 31 years ago, and this was only 2 months ago, by the way.
Yeah.
He knew nothing of methylquine, nothing.
Right.
He's got mental health issues. He's got quote PTSD, which he technically can't have because criteria H under the DSM for the diagnostic criteria for post-traumatic stress states if the symptoms can be related to a drug, then it can't be PTSD, right? And so when I told him that, he kind of went, "What do you mean?" And so I sent him a copy of the book unedited. And 4 hours later, he called me back. Had read the whole thing. And he said I couldn't put it down, and he was just floored, like he couldn't believe it. 31 years
Exactly.
after the fact, he knew nothing.
Exactly. Breaking
right?
the fourth wall, staring straight at the camera to just emphasize the point that this is why stories exactly like yours have to be shared. And not
Yeah,
everybody, it's not a courage situation for 70% of the people out there, because you got to know you're in trouble before you say, I'm in trouble, I need help. You
well,
have
you
to
have to,
know you're
yeah.
in trouble.
If you never knew that you had been amputated, right? I mean, literally, I mean, it's practically impossible for you
Phantom
to
limb
know that,
syndrome.
right? But
Rest
but
my case.
let's say you lost your leg
Yeah.
and for some reason your brain just didn't recognize that it was gone, right? So you go into a medical facility and the guy looks at you and he gives you a pair of crutches, tourniquet, and some medications to kill the pain and says, "You're good to run a marathon. Go for it."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You have no idea you can't run anymore,
Yeah.
right? Because your brain's not registering it.
That's right.
Right? And this is kind of one of the problems is when you're dealing with the brainstem, you're the stuff that you should be registering just doesn't register.
Yeah.
And there's a whole host of things you have to do in order to reclaim those skills.
That's
And the
right.
first is to recognize that you've been amputated, right? You can't do what you did before. You have to find another way to do it.